Well, we need to welcome you back, and we're still the big story for today. We're talking about the issue of the reopening of the border, especially with the recent call looking at the present hardship Nigerians seem to be experiencing, and more pressure is being put on the federal government to deal with the issue of border reopening. Many have come to plead with the government to have a review of the closure of the borders to help bring in goods and services as most needed by millions of Nigerians looking at the skyrocketing price of most of the goods and services and commodities presently in the country. But would that call be heeded to by Mr. President, judging by the remark of no other but the Controller General of Customs, who had an interactive section with some border communities on Saturday? Or would he stick to his guns and indeed still close the borders? Well, anyway, that's what we're still having, and we still have no other president but Mr. Wilson Egboje helping out with the discussion. But what we'll do now is go on a break, get a message from our sponsors, and when we'll come back, more discussions centered on the issue of reopening of the borders.
Oh, yeah, follow the road, auto better quality. If you talk gas matter, oh, yeah, follow Benetta. Gas with the better quality, Benetta gas where they full rich man to Benetta gas. Every brother na shapali, Benetta gas. Tomago mango, Benetta gas. Different type of gas cylinder, I mean that gas we go last you well out, Benetta gas. Matter Benetta now do Benetta gas. Service in a them they run, Benetta gas. Make you carry go.
For gas matter and home delivery, make a wire Benetta gas plant for 080-6745-7890 and 080-5904-7722. Benetta gas plant, the Tequele of gas matters.
It's colorful, so colorful, wow! It's Uzo Furniture and Interior Merchant, a leading name for luxurious furniture at Ultra Modern Super Showroom. Well stocked is now located near you for the sales and installation of long-lasting exotic and quality interior and exterior furniture for your living space, such as foreign Turkey royal chairs and sofas, glass, wooden and marble royal dining tables and chairs, conference tables and chairs, executive office tables, reception tables, orthopedic office chairs, etc. Uzo Furniture and Interior Merchant has in stock royal king size and queen size beds, wardrobes, mirror consoles, wall frames and artworks for decoration, wine bars, big TV shelves and TV stands, gym equipment like motorized gym bicycles, gaming chairs, treadmills, outdoor swing chairs, etc. All at affordable prices. We deliver with our vehicles. To make your home that cozy paradise, locate our super showroom along DSC Expressway opposite Platinum Banquet Place, beside Ugboloposo Junction, Efru, Delta State. Or call 0806-394-3198 or 0703-368-7179. Uzo Furniture and Interior Merchant for comfortable home interior furniture experience.
Well, both of them are proud sponsors of the Big Story and Quest today. I'm talking about Uzo Furniture and also Benetta Gas. But I know we need to remain with the issue, and we're still looking at the issue of the federal government and the recent call for the federal government to reopen the borders, looking at the present hardship we're facing. Well, in case you're just joining us, it's still Quest today, and the initial half, we talked about that very remark coming from no other but the Controller General of Customs himself, Adewale Adeniyi, saying that the federal government might have a rethink, but all still remains with Mr. President, and if he gives the nod for it. But anyway, let's continue. We've been given the nod to continue on this. Yeah, now let's look at it. Before we went on the break, we talked about food import and why the federal government is sticking to its guns not to open the borders, to have food stuff being taken into the country, all on account of helping out with the farmers, the local farmers. But your own reaction to it is that they need more better protection, not from those producing food outside, but rather from the insecurity that is being they are dealing with inside, and that's the best way to show up the level of food production in the country. But let's leave food and come to basic goods and services that are being manufactured in the country. Now, if you look at it, Nigeria import bills surge at an astonishing 66.68% in the fourth quarter of 2023, reaching about 14.1 trillion. Yes, I still remember. In the last 3 months of the year, we're talking about October, November, December. And hurting local manufacturers like hell, forgive my language, with importation of goods and coming into the country. 14.1 trillion was imported in the last 3 months of 2023, which is a huge one. And not only that, now having goods imported into the country from our neighboring countries that have cheaper energy and also cheaper labor force, would that not like be putting the nail on the coffin of manufacturers in the country, that they are now being faced with importation, especially from the ports and the rest, and now having more goods smuggled into the country from cheaper manufacturers around us, our neighbors? Would that not rather put the heavy blow on local manufacturers and a need for us to really still maintain the closure of the borders?
Well, the first question I will ask is, are we really manufacturing anything? Are we producing anything?
Why do you ask?
Because we are not in that area. We are not living up to expectations. You have to assess how much Nigeria is deriving from exporting industrial goods. What industrial goods are we really exporting at this moment? So it boils down to the fact that we are importing nearly everything. If we had those goods at home, we wouldn't be going outside to import them. What Nigeria needs to do is make energy available for production. I've told you time and again that if we have energy in this country, Nigerians are so the ingenuity of Nigerians will be challenged and the results will be seen. Nigerians are very good at coming up with alternatives when they have the need
to do so.
And when they know that whatever they are going to produce is going to be marketable. I thought initially, when this government came to office and removed subsidy, that the government would make the money that was supposed to be, that the money derived from removal of subsidy, to reactivate all the moribund factories in the country. At least share them, identify them from the states, and then allocate money. But what we're hearing is that I think I heard some time ago when one government spokesman said money from the subsidy is being shared among the states.
That's what's been done.
Shared, and what are they doing with it? You share money to Nigerians, they share it among themselves. Those who receive the money share it among themselves. They don't put it to any productive use. They just share it, put it in their bank account, and sit down. Look at the it's a simple thing, palliatives. The money is nowhere to be found. We will share more. You don't see anything. Because the money goes to individuals who simply pocket it, bury it in the vaults they have in their houses, so that it doesn't get to the people. So, if, for instance, the money was specially set aside, and say the textile factories, the easiest manufacturing we can do is textiles manufacturing, and there will be market for it outside.
Yeah.
We are not looking at that. Look at the cement sector. We have Lafarge, Bois, Dangote. What about Nkalago? What about Upila? All these cement factories that we abandoned and are now moribund. In 2 months, the federal government can bring in machinery that is needed to reactivate them. Why are we not thinking in that direction? All we just think of is how to get 1, 2, 3, 4 people to produce cement for Nigeria. Why? Why? What kind of monopoly are we establishing to stifle the growth of this country? Why should production of the cement be left for only a handful of people who only think of their own interests and not how the overall economy should benefit? In fact, I'm sick about all these things. If we are not prepared to build an economy, let us just know that we are out to sink the country. If you make energy available to Nigerians, Nigerians will come up with things that will compete favorably in the international market. We're not no export orientation, export oriented production is going on in the country. So the ones coming from outside must come until we start producing industrial production in the country to export and then have dollars coming in. We are not going to make any progress. Let us not deceive ourselves, my brother. For the next 2-3 years, we are not going to make any progress in this country until we start building an export-oriented economy. We are going nowhere.
Well, okay, now we need to go along with the discussion and further it and often see a way of deepening it, because another reason the federal government is giving for the closure of the border is to reduce the movement of light weapons and illicit drugs. There's no hearsay that Nigeria is going through one of the most difficult times as it concerns insecurity. Just recently we had almost 287 persons, children being kidnapped from Kaduna State, and just on Sunday 15 others were also kidnapped in Sokoto. And many feel most of this crime is transborder. They seem to come because, just like what the federal government said this morning in the papers, that they feel regional hands are also instigating such mass adoption. So will closure of the borders not really help to effect that, rather than having a free movement of these unscrupulous persons dealing with the security situation in the country?
If you tell me that border closure is effective in the south, I'll listen to you. But in the north, do we have borders in the north that are closed? The whole terrain is all semi-desert. The people moving from anywhere. You put a gate somewhere and say this is for border control. The whole border is porous in the north. So if somebody tells you that he has closed one border in the north, they only close the official ones, or official border posts. Those are the ones that are closed. People moving from anywhere into Nigeria. People move out of Nigeria from anywhere. So you cannot control the flow of weapons. You can only control it through the border posts. But elsewhere, that vast desert terrain, who's fooling who? Who is fooling who? Unless we just give it a name, border closure, to check arms, proliferation of arms inside Nigeria. Through those border, do they really come out through those border posts? The weapons that come from Libya and all those places that into Nigeria, do they really come through those border posts? They come through wherever they want to pass. They know where they move these things through into the country. So don't let us not deceive ourselves by saying that we are controlling movement of light arms and ammunition coming into Nigeria. That's not done through the border posts. They're coming through the border posts. Then as for drugs, the trafficking, well, drug trafficking it can be controlled. The reason is that traffickers of drugs must go through the airports. So that one can be controlled to an extent. Because if anybody who is trafficking in drugs knows that if he takes the risk of crossing the Nigerian border to a neighboring country before boarding the flight, the risk is times 10. Because outside there, they are very strict. The gendarmes in the French-speaking republics are very, very strict. They are not like our people who sometimes will look the other way. Those ones don't look the other way. So the reason they are able to arrest drug traffickers in Nigeria is because most of them go through the airports. If you want to control that one, is that border control? The airports are inside Nigeria. They pass through. If you're able to get them at the airport, fine, you get them. The others may smuggle through the waterways, through the sea. They know how they do it. They get these things, get to the coast, smuggle them through ships, smuggle them through ships to some other places. They have their own network. Some other places where it would be easy for them to carry and go to wherever they want to go. So don't tell me that you are closing borders for drug trafficking and light arms and ammunition. It's a story we are telling ourselves. That's not the real thing. If we want to close the borders, close them and let us be sure that they are airtight. But in the north, between at the border between Niger, Burkina Faso and all those places, there is no tight security anywhere there. The whole place is porous. Chad, porous. Or anywhere, Cameroon, porous. Don't let us deceive ourselves.
Okay, well, we'll not deceive ourselves in the discussion like you said, but rather continue on it. And let's look at it now. You made mention of dealing with the issue of food insecurity at the moment, which many will say, according to the World Food Programme, about 25 million Nigerians will definitely face acute hunger in the first 3 months of this year, that will even extend to July of this year.
Next year, don't put any ceiling.
And funny enough, we're already experiencing such with the recent hike in food surge. And that's not always been the case, although in the past couple of months now, food inflation has always driven the general inflation to the level it is, about 28.8% that it stands. But let's look at it. Now, do you feel, because we're now going to talk about solutions, do you feel really opening of the borders would definitely reduce all of that impact? And the reason I ask, I rather want us to look at what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said. And when he, on the 15th day of last month, February to be precise, when he said, the importation of food or opening of the border to allow food into the country will enable rent seekers to perpetrate fraud and mismanagement at the expense of many Nigerians, and that, he said, he would rather support farmers to cultivate more food instead of importation. But looking at many millions of Nigerians that would definitely go hungry this year, and more to add to it, do you feel allowing food into the country would definitely help ease the situation we are at the moment? And another reason I ask is, opening up the borders, would it not also be counterproductive, in the sense that if you look at most of the countries around Nigeria, they use the CFAs, which is the CFA. And as it stands today, the CFA seems to even have a more better standing than the Naira. 340 CFAs is to 1,000 Naira as of this morning. So, what benefit will it be if we really open up the border to let food come in? Will it not swing the other way around?
Well,
as in smuggling?
That tells you that there is no solution to our problem at the moment. Because I was going to mention it, that if you bring the food in, you are going to pay for it, and the Naira is as worthless as anything before every other currency. So it's a problem. Then I've always insisted that this federal government should set up a body and ask the people who will make up that body to go for a retreat and come out with what can bail this country out of our predicament. Don't let anybody deceive you that in the next 1, 2, 3 years we will get out of this problem. We won't get out of it until we have a focus. And the government has to give us a focus. The government has to be focused, because this government is not focused on how to resolve these problems facing the country today. The government is not focused. We think of what an area that is in distress, we think of how to placate that area and settle it before you feel, even though we are not succeeding with anyone, another one comes up, we go there again and think of how to say, how are you going to, is that how to run an economy? When you get it wrong at the onset, it's difficult to overcome. Any problem at all you want to tackle, if you get it wrong at the very beginning, especially when it involves fiscal policy and monetary policy that is not properly managed, not properly thought out. If you don't think out properly, if you don't study a problem that is confronting you, it will be difficult for you to think of how to overcome it in any area of life. So how are we really thinking that without proper planning, without declaring a national emergency for the economy, how do we think we can come out of it? Until the government is focused, we will continue to rigmarole year after year. And the painful thing is, the capable hands in Nigeria are leaving. University lecturers are leaving. Medical workers are leaving. At the end of the day, what we have left behind will not be able to take care of our requirements, take care of our needs. The only thing that we can still manage is farming. And it is being abandoned because of insecurity. I think the government needs to really sit up. There's no point giving us the impression that we are in control. Nobody's in control of Nigeria.
Okay, well, anyway, we're in control of the discussion, and that's why we'll go on a break now. When we come back, we'll conclude our talk as it concerns the federal government and the recent call for the borders to be reopened, especially after that closure. Yeah, in case you don't know, the borders have been closed for a couple of years now, and well, in the last administration, 19th of August to be precise, of 2019, the last administration closed the borders to deal with the issue of insecurity and also the damage importation of food has had on local production. And well, not just only that, some of that were relaxed in the latter half of 2022, but also this administration had to close the border with Niger due to that issue of coup d'etat with the removal of President Bazoum and the coming in of the junta. But since after that, many have said the issue of border reopening is so critical, looking at the present economic situation we are being faced with. And many will attribute the present situation we are being faced with the closure of the border. And they have reasons to indicate all of that and to show that concern. But our concern now is to go on a break. And when we come back, we'll conclude on the discussion today on The Big Story.